Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Unsafe Space. I'm Carter Laren. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can go to unsafespace.com to follow us and support the show. Yesterday, which was March 12th, 2021, immediately after Covfefe break, I had the opportunity to speak with Lisa Hanson, and it was a bit of a rushed interview schedule because it's the first time I've ever worried about someone getting arrested before I had a chance to speak with them. Lisa, not a mass murderer, not a typical felon in the way that you would think, but she owns a cafe in Albert Lea, Minnesota called the Interchange, and she has been fighting her local and state governments for the right to stay open, to do business, and support herself and her family. So you're going to see that interview now. If you'd like to support Lisa, you can go to her GoFundMe page, which we'll put in the links below. Also, there's an organization called National Action Taskforce. We'll put the link to that below as well. And she's building a new website called betheinterchange.com to keep you apprised of her story. Hopefully, she's not been arrested by the time you see this. Hopefully, she'll avoid arrest. But like I said, a little bit concerned that she might get arrested very, very soon. So here's my conversation with Lisa. Lisa, welcome to Unsafe Space. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Carter, for having me on.
I think you're the first emergency interview we did because we were worried that someone was going to get arrested and thrown in jail, and we had to interview them before that happened. So what horrible crime have you committed? I will go into your story, but I mean, this is crazy. Why don't you tell people maybe about the Interchange, which is your coffee shop, I guess, or a cafe in Minnesota. Why don't you tell people just overview of the story, and then we'll get into details.
Well, we have a little, as you mentioned, cafe, coffee shop, bistro. It's called the Interchange Wine Coffee Bistro in Albert Lea, Minnesota. We have been in business there for about 7 years, about 7.5 years. And it's just a lovely little place for people to come and have their favorite, latte or a sandwich, flatbread. We also offer beer and wines. It's a great venue. It's right down in downtown, the historical part of Albert Lea. And it's in a historical building, of course, and it's a beautiful venue, great venue. And we're well loved by the community and beyond. So it's been a great little restaurant. So we've been operating.
And there's no meth lab in the back or anything that we're unaware of.
Now, if I divulge that information, no, we're good. We're just coffee. It's just, coffee.
Right.
Coffee and sandwiches and whatnot. But yeah. So we've been doing business there, like I said, for about 7 years. And this last year, of course, everybody's lives got turned upside down with the pandemic, and ours as well. And it affected our business in horrendous ways, like it did everybody else that owns a business that was either shuttered or shut down.
So let's walk through that, because I don't think most people aren't from Minnesota who are watching this show. So what was the first? I mean, there might have just been some negative consequences to the business because people might not be going out voluntarily, and I understand that. But what was the first government action in Minnesota that affected you?
Yeah, that was when the governor shut us down back in March of. It's been a year. It's been over a year now. Back in March of 2020, shut us down for 2 weeks so we could flatten the curve. And
I remember. That worked.
Yeah, that worked really well, didn't it? So he shut us down for indoor dining. And for a restaurant like ours, that 95% of our business is dine-in. So when you lose 95% of your business overnight, that kind of hurts.
Yep.
Yeah. So we were shut down for, I think it ended up being a couple of months. And I'm sorry, I don't have all the dates and timeline right in front of me.
But
yeah, so
we couple months.
Well, we did everything we could do, to survive. We followed the mandate at that time, and we offered. Actually, we didn't have online ordering, and we offered that. We incorporated that into our point of sale, and offered online ordering. Of course, we offered curbside, pickup, everything that we could think of to do to survive. We did it. You start doing things like you cut back on absolutely everything you can to try to survive. When your business is ripped out from under you, it's basically taken from you almost at 100%. So we went through that. We eventually got opened back up. I think the first open up was 25% on the inside, and then the governor increased it to 50% eventually. And we all went along with it and trying to survive and make ends meet. And also, I'll be the first to admit that I did receive some government help, which I hate. I hated to apply for it. I don't like to receive government help because we're business owners, right? We figure it out, and we do what we do best, and we take care of our customers, and we turn revenue. We offer a great product, and so we did everything we could do. But when something's taken away from you, to a capacity that it was, there's no way you can survive. So we did apply for the PPP loan and a couple of local grants, and we were awarded or approved, I guess is a better word, for those loans and grants, and they helped. They weren't enough. It's not enough. Right. So we struggled through. It was a huge struggle, and we came to a point where we weren't sure we were going to make it. We weren't sure. We made it through the summer and into the fall, and then in November of 2020, the governor decided that he needed to shut things down again, so he closed us up again. 100% inside for indoor dining. Yep. But we could still do the curbside, and we could still do delivery. We could still offer online ordering, all of that, which we did. And but again, it wasn't enough. We were already so beaten up and beaten down and out of money. I mean, you can't survive on 5%.
Well, most people, I don't think most people don't own small businesses, but I think people don't realize it's not like small businesses don't have 6 months of operating capital sitting in the bank just waiting for something like this to happen. It's completely reasonable when you plan your business. One of the risks that you don't plan for is I'll actually be forced to not have a business for several months. That's not a reasonable thing to plan for generally.
No, it's not. I mean, boy, when you're planning for something like that, that's going to have to be a major event in our, our country, our world, whatever, our state, or, and no, that you don't plan for that. And this is something we've never experienced. We've been in business now. We have other businesses as well, or have had other businesses as well. And for more than 25 years, actually 35 plus years. And so, you don't plan for those things. You don't plan that your business is going to fail or be shut down. So, you do the best you can. Yes, we had a little bit of a nest egg, and little emphasis on that. And of course that went into the business too. We went through everything that we had, and a lot of other businesses are in the same boat. A lot of businesses lost their businesses, permanently. They had to close permanently. And when the governor shut us down, the state down again, the restaurant, I should say, restaurants, bars, gyms, dance studios, that sort of thing. When he shut us down again on the inside, restaurants and bars, we couldn't do there was no dine-in allowed. We went along with it again. And we knew that it was wrong. During the whole shutdown, we knew that, okay, this is not okay. Government can't tell you that you got to shut your business down, your livelihood, that right. You got to tell your employees, hey, sorry, you're out of a job. Go draw on.
Yeah, I was thinking, by the way, the other day, even in under monarchies, I don't think kings would want, no one can trade. That just didn't, it's an unconscionable and unheard of thing for a government to do, to say, hey, all this way that most of you make your livelihood, you can't do that anymore. Right. It's pretty crazy. But you went along with the second one, shutdown.
We did for about 1 month. And we kind of looked at each other and we said, why are we doing this? I mean, we weren't going to survive. And so at that point, we decided, okay, we either, we had two options. We literally had two options. We would either open fully against the governor's orders, because we have that right. We have unalienable rights to be able to operate our business. We follow the guidelines. We have licenses at our business. We have a food and beverage license, and we also have liquor or wine and beer license. We follow all of the, rules, if you will. So we said we got two choices. We either shut down or we open up fully. And by shut down, I mean permanently close our doors and say goodbye, lock it up, sell off what we can, pay off the debts that we can, and figure out how we pay off the rest, in the months and years to come. So
it's a horrible time to try and sell a business too.
Yeah,
a brick and mortar business, right?
Brick and mortar, and especially, at least in our state, especially a restaurant. So restaurant, equipment right. And all of that. Who's going to want that? Everybody's closing their doors down and trying to survive and stay alive. And not too many new restaurants are being opened during this. But so we said, well, we looked at the risks involved, and I decided that I'm going to go ahead and open my business up and let the chips fall where they may. And believe
so
me,
you did that in what, December? Or? Yeah, it just sounds like chips are falling.
So there's an organization in Minnesota called Reopen Minnesota Coalition. They had been planning and working on this for several months as far as opening businesses, helping businesses open up again. So we joined that coalition because honestly, we didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't know how to, go about opening up against the governor's order, although I guess you just open up. But it was really great to have a support group to walk through that with, and they gave us a lot of helps as far as, okay, so you're gonna shut down, and here's what's going to happen, and here's how you need to respond. So they gave us that information that was super helpful. So there was about 180 businesses in the state of Minnesota, known businesses that joined the Minnesota or the Reopen Minnesota Coalition, and we all opened up on December 16th, 2020. We opened our doors fully. I think some of the businesses maybe followed some of the mandates, mask wearing and whatnot, and that was kind of just a personal choice. And some of us did not follow any of the mandates. At my place, I allow, and I don't know that we really want to get into this, but I do allow my staff to choose for themselves whether they wear a mask or whether they don't wear a mask. That should be a personal health decision. And I have no right to tell them how to take care of their health. How'd
your staff feel about opening back up? Were they not wanting to come to work, or were they thankful that they could get paid? I assume. I don't know. What was their attitude?
Yeah, their attitude was great. We get to work again. We get to come back to work. We get to earn tips. We get to earn a wage, So, they were ecstatic. They were troopers. I have a great staff. I had a great staff. Sorry, getting into some, more current where we're at right now. But they were ecstatic to come back to work and open fully. I had been able to keep some of them on for the delivery and, curbside. And, so we were still doing a little bit of business. But they were really glad to be able to get some more hours and be able to actually have a real paycheck again. So we opened back up, and right away we had tremendous response. I think it was the second day we were open. We had a line out the door. People waited in line. Literally, I think I had a line nonstop for 3 hours that first day. Wow. Or day that we opened back up. Maybe it was the second day. And then again, just the response and the support of people supporting us, say, hey, we know that you need to make money. Your employees need to make money, and we're here to support you. So it was.
Where's the part where you and your staff all got COVID and died?
Oh, yeah, we should talk about that because it didn't happen. I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so you open that up. You had the public is very receptive. There's maybe some light at the end of the tunnel, although digging yourself out of a hole that deep, after several months has got to be tough. But so there's some light at the end of the tunnel. People are coming to your restaurant. Then what happens?
Well, actually, with the Reopen Minnesota Coalition, they advertised for us. They promoted the businesses that are going to reopen, right? And of course, in doing that, guess who else realized that all of these businesses were going to be opening up? State of Minnesota, Big Daddy government. They were watching and waiting, and so they got the list. So the very first day that we opened up, we had an inspector come to our restaurant and spoke with me. And I didn't really answer his questions. Obviously, he could see that we were open and doing business. And I believe it was the second day that we were opened back up for business, we received our first ever cease and desist. So that was pretty exciting.
From the state, from the health department,
Yes, from Minnesota Department of Health, cease and desist. And so they posted that on our door, and that was December. I believe that was the 18th or 19th. Anyway, just very shortly after we opened back up. So they of course didn't waste any time, and this was happening to other businesses throughout the state. We received calls from the Attorney General's office, and what we were told to do with the call, it basically don't receive the call, and just don't talk to them, because we don't have to, right?
Yep.
So I didn't. Unfortunately, what happened is there was 180 businesses. Out of those 180, I think it was, and don't quote me on this, but I believe it was around 85 were restaurants and bars, same industry as myself. And out of those, only about 10 of us actually stayed open. Everybody else got.
So the other ones, like the cease and desist came and they stopped.
Yeah, or the Attorney General, a call came from the Attorney General's office, and people got scared, and I understand that it was a scary thing. None of us have ever done this before, but
right. Well, and not everyone is. They're not facing arrest, so let's okay. But so you ignored this. You kept you and maybe nine or so other businesses. It sound like ignored this. Then what happened?
Well, then we started getting charges. There were civil suits thrown at us. So we had received several suits, fines, lawsuits, temporary restraining order, an induction order. It goes on and on. It's incredible what they've thrown the book at us and then some. Yeah.
Okay, and this is all from the state. This isn't. Or are these private people?
Well, so far this is all from the state. Yes, so far what we've covered so far is all from the state. Yeah, from our local Attorney General's office and the Minnesota Department of Health, as well as the Liquor Board, because we do serve beer and wine. So
sure. So you get a lot of threatening letters and cease and desist orders and TROs or whatever from judges, and then but you stayed open anyway.
We did. We stayed open. We did not relent. We did not lay down. We didn't hide. We just did business as normal, and it was wonderful. We actually, like you said, you mentioned a little while ago that to dig yourself back out of a hole that that the government had put us in for months on end. We didn't even know by opening fully on December 16th. We had no idea if we'd even be able to keep our doors open for more than a couple of weeks because we were out of money. We had nothing, nothing left. We had exhausted all of our resources. And so we opened back up and stayed open and as all this stuff was coming at us and obviously, before I opened back up, I didn't necessarily have any legal help at that point. So in short order, I realized, okay, we need some legal guidance here. So
right. Okay, so but it sounds like you're not open now, though. Something happened between staying open and getting all of that, getting attacked by the state, and now. Yeah. So what happened in the intervening time?
It's a big story. Our lives have changed dramatically since December 16th. It's unbelievable. I look back and it feels like it's been a year or more. But it's only been, since December 16th. So what happened is, business was great. We were starting to be able to pay our bills and catch up a little bit, not totally, of course, and we're still not totally caught up. So we just trying to, there's so much that's happened. We started getting pulled into court. So we did some Zoom court hearings, arraignments. I've been in court in person. I think it's been twice on a hearing and an arraignment. We continue to have fines, or did through the period January, February, we continued to have fines put upon us, and 9,000, excuse me, not 9,000, I believe it was a $10,000 lawsuit that has been thrown at us, and a lot of threats. We've had inspectors, and not just inspectors, but we've also had investigators come in and investigate us undercover. Of course, I know about that because in the reports, I get all that information that so-and-so came in on this day and, whatever. And so they've been spying on us. That's what I call it, spying, because that's what it is. And we continue to do business as normal, as much as possible, until the threat of, I guess everything that was coming at us legally from the state just became really huge. And I kind of switched. I was with a legal counsel in the beginning, and decided that wasn't quite the strategy or the tactics that we needed, because what we were using was not working in the state of Minnesota. And so as of first part of February, I jumped over to a new legal defense organization, and that was like the best choice we've ever made. And they have been amazing. Not that the first organization wasn't good for us, and it just wasn't a good fit for the state of Minnesota. So here we are. We are with a group now called National-Action Taskforce.org is their website, and we are working with a assistance of private counsel at law, and I am standing in for myself in a court of law. So some people would say I'm representing myself, but I'm standing as myself in a court of law. So we're going to court and we're fighting these things. What happened, was that first part of February, end of January, first part of February, somewhere in there. For some reason, our city attorney, Ms. Kelly Dawn Martinez, I happen to know her name by heart. This is good reason.
That's not a good sign.
No, it's not. She decided to come after us with a vengeance for the state to charge us criminally, to charge me criminally. I say us. I've got a lot of great people working with me. But yes, so now I have received 9 criminal charges against me because I opened my business.
And what are the criminal charges? I mean,
yeah, that's a really good question. I opened my business against the governor's order, and I'm, according to the city attorney in the state of Minnesota, I'm looked at as a dangerous criminal because being open, not following the mandates, or they look at me as a super spreader. In fact, that's what has been said in a court of law about me, that I had an event one evening, and actually it was a protest event, a peaceful protest, and we opened up our doors, and obviously the city attorney, the state of Minnesota, did not like that, and they have accused us of being super spreaders. I have yet to see how we are super spreaders. As far as I know, there's been nobody that has come to us and said, here's the claim of injury. So I don't know. Right. Don't know what they're talking about. Of course, there's no proof. We know that. Sure. So we are right now, we are really in the fight of our lives. I never imagined I'd be here in this situation, but let me tell you why, if I can, Carter.
Yeah.
Go back to that, this last year, 2020, I think a lot of us did a lot of soul searching, and a lot of questioning, a lot of research, a lot of reading, or, well, at least some of us did. There was a lot of questionable stuff going on, and still is. So as we were doing this soul searching ourselves and looking into, is this real? Is this not real? And, everything, we decided, we saw that our rights, our freedoms, our liberties were literally being stripped away from us. Yeah. And in my lifetime, I'm 56, and in my lifetime, I have never seen anything like this before. I have never seen liberties and freedoms being stripped and removed from us, and at such a rapid pace. Not that I think this happened all of a sudden. I think, for the last many decades, we've been we've been losing our liberties, but now we're looking at, wow, they really mean what there's an agenda. I believe there's an agenda, and without getting into all of that, just that we're seeing it now. We're seeing it happen at such a rapid rate. And I think we were all taken by surprise. I know I was.
Yep.
So we said, hey, this is not okay. It's not even about the interchange. Of course, we wanted our employees to be able to have a job, and we wanted to be able to maintain our company. But it wasn't even about the interchange. It wasn't just about our employees. It wasn't just about my little business. This really is a much, much bigger thing. This is about our children and our grandchildren. This is about future generations. And we could not sit back and watch it all be stripped away without putting up a fight.
So how did you get to the spot where you're about to be arrested? Because most people are hearing this right now, and they're thinking, okay, so there's some fines, you're going to court. Why are we worried that you're going to be whisked off to jail tomorrow?
Our judicial system is so corrupt, and I had no idea. I mean, you hear it, right? You've heard that, we hear that, that judge or, that court is corrupt or whatever, but I am learning it firsthand. Our judicial system is corrupt. We have removed, 3 or 4, we've recused 3 or 4 judges from our cases. We have filed lawsuits ourselves. We are now at, we filed over 20 lawsuits against over 30 people. So several people have received more than one lawsuit. We're at a grand total of lawsuits at over $200 million now.
So how did you get judges recused, and what are you suing? Who are you suing for what?
Well, that's a good question. So we're suing the governor. We're suing Attorney General Keith Ellison. We're suing Jan Malcolm, who is the commissioner of Minnesota Department of Health. Daniel Huff, who's assistant commissioner. We're suing inspectors who came into our business. We're suing investigators who came into our business. We are suing the local city attorney, the one who has a vengeance against me, to love to put me behind bars, and as well as a couple of judges so far. It's amazing. It's all based on fraud. Everything that they brought against me is all based on fraud in the court, fraud in fact, and fraud by omission. Sorry, remember all the frauds.
Sure,
so there's a whole lot of fraud going on. So we are basing our lawsuits. It's all in the records. It's all public record. But we are, these people are acting on fraud in every way possible. And so somebody's got to say, hey, enough is enough. What's happening with the arrest is this week, on the 10th, I was notified with a piece of paper that I was that there was a scheduled Zoom hearing for it was a bail hearing, and it was on new charges. And according to the Minnesota criminal rules, procedural rules, when a person is called into a hearing, whether it's a Zoom or in person, there are rules that are to be followed. And one of the rules is that the defendant must be summoned, and also with that summons, the criminal charges have to be attached, right? Well, I received instructions on how to join the Zoom hearing, but I never received a summons, and I never received a summons with anything attached. Just didn't receive a summons at all. And
so
of course,
legally, you shouldn't be required to go to that Zoom meeting.
Absolutely, you're exactly right. I did my due diligence. I checked the court docket. I checked all my emails. I checked my USPS mail. I checked everything. any optional way that could come to me. I never got it. I was even checking right up until the Zoom hearing. Never received anything. I wasn't personally served either. That's really the way that it should have been done, is I should have been personally served. So what happened is the hearing went on without me because I was not summoned. And so after the fact, when the judge realized that I was not going to show, he in fact issued a warrant for my arrest because I did not show.
For failure to show.
Failure to show, right. So unfortunately, this is what we have going on in our court system in Minnesota. And we have a bunch of actors. First of all, these actors, these officials, whether they're appointed or whether they're elected, those that serve us, the people, they're not serving us. They think that we are there, that we are beholden to them, when actually it's the other way around. These servants are there to serve us, and they have been doing just the opposite, of course, and oh my gosh, it's so corrupt. It's unheard of what is happening in our law system.
It sounds like harassment, right? And it sounds like they're just harassing you.
Yeah.
Have you responded saying I never got a summons? Like, have you?
Yes, absolutely. We're very, very quick. I have, like I said, a brilliant assistance of private counsel at law, and we got right on that, and we have filed, an objection to the warrant for my arrest. And as far as I know, the judge has that in his hands as of earlier today, and so haven't heard anything. But the really crazy thing is, here you have, and this is happening all over the place, at least in our state. And I know there's other situations in other states that are at least as bad, if not worse. You have a mom of 8 kids. You have a grandma of 9 so far, a business owner for more than 25 years. We've lived the majority of our lives in the area, in the community. We have been churchgoers. We've been community volunteers. We're those kind of people that you kind of think, oh, well, they're a good, a community resident, or and we're just living
in the same world. You're the kind of people you want in a community.
Yeah. I would think, yeah. We just want to live our lives. We just want to be left alone. We pay our taxes, we take care of we follow the rules, everything that's expected of us, of course, to a certain point. And now this we haven't, because these are all illegal edicts, mandates that the governor is trying to put upon the poor people or the good people of the state of Minnesota. And I just feel really bad for all of us. But so sorry, I kind of got off on a little bit of a rabbit trail there. But we are, it's amazing that you have a person like me, and they want to arrest me and put me in jail. Why would they want to do that? And of course, they all go back to the EO 2099, the executive orders that our governor has imposed on the people. So yesterday morning, I had a law enforcement person show up at my door. And actually a deputy, was looking for Lisa Hanson, my legal name, and said, "Yeah, you found her. Here I am." He said, "There is a warrant for your arrest," and I said, "I'm aware of that." And long story short, I asked the deputy if he would talk to the sheriff, because the sheriff had guaranteed me that I would not be arrested on these issues, and he's not going to put me in his jail. Why would he? For these reasons. And so the deputy let me know that he had talked with the sheriff, went back to his vehicle and talked with the sheriff, and said, yeah, he said, we're not going to arrest you. Sheriff's going to give you a call and whatever. So we were able to manage at least that part of it. I still could be arrested by our police department. And the hopes is that we'll be able to get this warrant dropped. It needs to be dropped. Right. It's ridiculous. So that's where we're at.
So let's talk about this. I guess, is she a city prosecutor? This person who's got it out for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on with that? And I think I heard some crazy stories about some things that were happening there, but
Oh my gosh. It's better than a movie. Somebody should write a movie about this, at least a book someday. Yeah, well, it's really interesting because as prosecuting attorney, she had charged me with 9 counts, criminal counts. And so, of course, we're going to fight that. And so I had some papers to serve to her, to her at her office, City Hall. And of course, right now, some things are shut down because of COVID, but she is working out of her office, and her secretary or assistant is there. So we had some papers to serve, and we went over to her office, and it was myself that served the papers, and a couple of other people that help us. And we happened to have a video camera or a phone with us, and so we actually videoed everything because we really didn't know how she would respond or whatever. And I'm really glad we did, because it was just the strangest response. We went into the office. We had made an appointment to be able to come in, and we were escorted into her office, where then we just met the most interesting situation. I've never seen anything like it before, but they didn't want to take our papers, the assistant to the city attorney, Kelly
they didn't
Martinez.
want to take them?
They did not want to take the papers.
Can they do that?
Well, it just gets better. Exactly.
Okay.
I just want to give you some papers. I'm just here to serve you some papers, and then I'll leave. Just could you take the papers? Well, they didn't want to take the papers, and they wouldn't take our papers. They asked me to set them on the chair in the waiting area, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that because these papers had confidential information, had my signature on them, et cetera, et cetera.
They're legal documents. You don't leave them on a chair.
Yeah, they're legal documents. And so they wouldn't let me hand them off. They wouldn't let me slide them through the little tiny window. They just refused to take them. And at that point, I really didn't know what else to do. I had to serve the papers because the papers were in regards to an arraignment the very following day. And the city attorney needed to see what our papers said, so she was prepared. It was really something that was required of me to serve. And then just as here, I'm trying to do something good for you. Here's the papers you want to see before you're in court with me tomorrow. So, not that I was necessarily trying to help her out, but it was just a common sense thing.
You're being cooperative in the legal process. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a good way to say it. And they were being absolutely uncooperative and really gave us no reason why. They just, other than just leave them on the chair. So anyway, I guess I got a little frustrated, although I stayed extremely civil and very polite and, professional in my demeanor and very, very calm. And I said, well, okay, if you don't want to receive these, then I'm going to go ahead and call law enforcement, to come in and address the situation. And so, which we knew that we might run into some trouble with her just because of how vindictive she had already been towards us. And she had pulled some pretty gnarly tactics, very unprofessional on her end as well. So going back, well, in fact, let me just share one of the things that she pulled. This is crazy.
Yeah, sure. And you're sharing her name openly, it sounds like. So
Kelly Dawn Martinez, Albert Lea City Attorney, or attorney, excuse me.
Sure.
Yes, very openly. Well, it's all in public record, and she's the prosecuting attorney, and so she's got to own that, right? Just like I got to own what I'm doing. So the week prior, we had been in court for a hearing that did not involve Ms. Martinez. Well, when we came into the building, we were not able to get into the hearing in time, and not that because we were late, et cetera. So that's kind of a whole nother story. But we actually missed our hearing, which was really unfortunate. And but we'll take care of that later too. We missed our first hearing, so we thought we were still walking into the hearing when we went through security, and then security tells us, the deputy tells us, he says, "Oh, I guess your hearing's over." I said, "Okay. Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, fantastic. We got through all this finally, and we're able to go into hearing. Now you tell us it's over and done with." And that was a big letdown. And he said, Oh, but don't leave because you've got another one. We said, what? No, we don't. You must be mistaken. So he checked and he said, no, you've got another one. They have, Melissa Hanson, and they're about ready to start. I said, no, there must be some mistake. There is no more. I was not notified of anything. This must be wrong. So after going back and forth a couple of times, he said, no, I assure you, they have another hearing for you. So I said, okay, let's just go and figure it out. We'll see what it is. We walked into the courtroom, and yes, in fact, they were done. They had already finished up with our first hearing. And there was a surprise hearing. In the courtroom, the prosecuting attorney is standing there, and they announced this new case. And I said, Your Honor, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have not been made aware of this case. I have no knowledge of it. So then the prosecuting attorney explains to the judge, well, Your Honor, this is an arraignment. I filed it into the case. And he asked, well, did you notify Ms. Hanson? Well, I mailed it out on Monday, and mind you, this is Thursday. Well, I put it in the mail on Monday. Well, we had not received anything. Guarantee mail. I mean, mail can be slow. Mail can get lost, whatever. And so we had not received anything. We had not been personally served. We had not received anything in the mail, et cetera. So this was a surprise to us. And in fact, the judge himself remarked at how odd this was. In his 35 years of practice, he had never seen a defendant notified of a hearing in the courtroom for that hearing. That was the first they heard about it. It was an arraignment hearing, and so this was on the first 6 charges that she had that she's prosecuting us with, and so we went ahead and entered that arraignment and did a little bit of discussion on it. But the judge said, "Would you like a continuation?" He asked me if I'd like a continuation so I could properly prepare.
Of course. Yes,
of course, we need to do that. So the following week, it was scheduled for the continuation of the arraignment, and at that point, that's when we went in to serve Ms. Martinez these papers in reference to the case, right? And that's where we were refused. We were refused due process. We were refused. They were completely uncooperative. I did call the sheriff because, like I said, the sheriff has been very supportive and helpful, and so I called him and let him know what was going on. And I told him, I said, they've asked me to leave it on the chair, but I don't want to leave it on the chair. Do you have any suggestions? Well, when I told the assistant to Ms. Martinez and Ms. Martinez that I was calling law enforcement, you can see it in the video. The prosecuting attorney turns to walk in her office, which is through a doorway on the other side of this plexiglass wall, where her assistant is sitting, and she motions to her assistant attorney to push something. Well, right after I said I'll call law enforcement, the secretary or assistant tells me no need to. They've already been called. Well, nobody picked up a phone. But
so they pressed a panic button or something.
Sir, yes, they did. They absolutely pressed the panic button because I am that scary looking, right?
Yeah.
You'd be scared of me.
So, that's unconscionable because if you are the police and you get a panic button, you come in guns blazing because you're assuming that there's some emergency situation with a hostile.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's not funny at all. The situation, thank God, the situation could have been really bad. It could have turned very ugly very quickly. It's not funny. She broke the law. There was no reason to push the panic button. We have it all on video. We have the evidence.
So did the police show up then, I assume? Guns drawn or ready to fight?
So the police, one officer walked in. I'm not sure if he's a detective or what. He was in plain clothing, and he walked in, and I thought, okay, because I was expecting, 1 or 2 officers to show up because they had told me they had been called, or they're already on their way. Anyway, so that was it. No need to. They're already on their way. So
that's ominous.
Yeah, and at that point, I had no idea that they had pushed this panic button. It all comes out in the video when you watch the video. So one officer walks in and he says, he's very calm. His gun is holstered, and he said, he said, yeah, what's going on? So one of the people that were with me, the one that was videoing, just mentions that, yeah, Lisa's in there and she's on the phone right now with the sheriff. And so he came in and he says, yeah, what's going on? I said, well, yeah, I'm here to serve papers, and I want to leave these papers, and they won't take them. I mean, it's really ridiculous. Anyway, so then another officer shows up, and then about 4 more officers show up, and I'm thinking, whoa, they sent out the cavalry on this.
Because they assume that there's something happening in the building, right?
I didn't know that. I did not know that, and I'm sorry. Before all of this, I have to admit I was ignorant to so very many things that now I'm learning and understanding. And so all these officers come in, and they're very calm, very collected. They did a wonderful job. A couple of them, enter through the plexiglass area and talk with Ms. Martinez, and of course I can't hear what's being said, and then they come out to where I'm standing, and one of the officers asked, "Would you like me to give the papers to Ms. Martinez?" I said, "That would be so good if you would just do that. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to hand her the papers, or even hand her the assistant her papers, and could you do that? That'd be fantastic." So he takes the papers, and then he escorts us out of the building. As we're walking out, we have a nice little conversation. And when I get outside, it was really interesting because there's all these squad cars. We get out right of the door, to the left of the door. There's these squad cars up on the one set of tires up on the curb. Their lights are, rolling. And I looked at him. I said, "Really? All this just for me?"
So this is all Martinez is doing, right? She's wasting taxpayer money, potentially putting people in harm's way, just to be, lack of a better word, to be a B word, right? I mean,
right. Absolutely. It is. It's incredible what happened, and she should have absolutely been reprimanded at the very least for this. What could have happened that day, what didn't, but could have happened that day, was, those officers came into a situation they had no idea what they were coming into. They could have had guns drawn. There could.
In other jurisdictions, they would. I mean, yes, I don't know what it's like where you are, but
yeah.
I'll tell you what. Where I am, if someone pressed a panic button in a government building, guns would be drawn.
Absolutely, and that's what I understand. After the fact that this could have been a very, very dangerous, volatile situation. And she caused this situation to go from a very calm civil procedure, just a common thing, serving papers, to I don't know how many of the law enforcement were out there. I don't know that I even saw everybody who was there. When we stepped outside, we did see a sheriff's car driving through, and so there could have been more. I have no idea, because what I understand is everybody that is available attends that panic button. They attend that call. They have no idea what they're going into. They attend the call, and so what if something seriously bad was going on in another part of the city while all those officers were there, trying to calm the city attorney down, Kelly Dawn Martinez, trying to calm her down.
What was that name again? I forgot. I missed that name.
Oh, Kelly Dawn Martinez. Do you want me to give you the spelling as well? Albert Lea City Attorney. Albert Lea. Can I just say this too? If any of the Albert Lea officials happen to tune into this and watch this, there's a lot of people that have called for once they found out what Kelly Dawn Martinez, city attorney, did that day in her office. We're irate. This is not okay. And why is she still working there? Why is she still the Albert Lea city attorney? I would think that would be grounds to terminate her position or terminate her. So anyway, that's not my call. That would be the city council and the mayor, I believe, get to make that call. And they've received countless emails and calls, is my understanding, as well as the city manager. Our city manager has also received a lot of calls from a lot of very concerned citizens.
Well,
So
they're ultimately responsible for her because they have the power to hire or fire. So it's
absolutely,
if
absolutely,
if she continues doing that kind of stuff, it's on them at this point.
right, right.
Um,
Yep.
so did she have a just let's play devil's advocate? Was there a reason? Was she saying you're not wearing a mask or you need to do blah blah blah? Was there like some legitimate reason that she was pushing back on why she didn't want to take the papers?
Well, when we all entered the building, we all had face coverings on of some sorts, and when we entered her office, I had my face shield on, and but when I saw that the person behind the plexiglass did not have a mask on, and she approached the little window, the sliding window, and she leaned into the window without a mask. At that point, I'm thinking, well, if she's not going to wear a mask, I guess I can
Why
take.
would you?
Why would I?
Right. Yeah.
So
Right.
we're in a comfortable situation here. We're good to go. And personally, not that it matters and shouldn't matter, I don't wear a face covering unless I absolutely have to. For instance, like to be able to go into the courtroom, they won't let us in without something. So here we are in a situation, and she doesn't have a mask on, so I take mine off, and there's nobody else around us
And there's
within.
plexiglass between you.
And there's plexiglass, and it's just this small opening and whatever, but she leans into the window and she's talking to us without her mask. And so the thought that what was said to me was the story kept changing. It kept evolving. It was amazing how it evolved. But first of all, it was, well, you don't have a mask on, so I don't want to take the papers from you. So can I just hand them to you through the window? Can I stand back
Right.
6 feet and toss them through the so anyway, so first it was the mask, and then it was the fact that it was a shield and not a cloth mask, and I don't know, there were a lot of different excuses given, and I said, and you see it on the video, I'll be happy to put my face shield on, and if that makes you feel comfortable, I'll put my face shield on, and then I'll hand you the papers, and are you okay with that? Nope, wouldn't do it.
No, they didn't want that. Okay.
No, they just didn't want to cooperate with me, so I'm not sure why, but
Wow.
it could have gone.
All right.
The thing is it could have been done in 2 seconds.
Sure.
Papers could have been served, and we would have been out of there. We didn't have to.
I mean, it
this.
just strikes me as extremely petty. And it's the kind of thing that when you think about the kind of petty, useless bureaucrats that populate a large percentage of the apparatus of the state, these people are poster children for that that image in your head. They're not. It's everything wrong with
Right.
government. It's these petty little tyrants
Right.
who are going to make you,
Right.
they're going to call the cops on you.
Yeah.
Because they refuse to take the paperwork, which
Right.
they're obliged. She's obliged to take this, I assume, right?
Right.
She's obliged to take this paperwork.
Or an authorized person, where.
Right. So yeah, someone from her office is obliged to take the paperwork.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But no, they just absolutely refused to take it and wanted me to leave it on the chair. And I just wasn't willing to do that. So anyway, yeah, no, what we're seeing here is we're seeing officials that are here to serve us. That's not the other way around. So city attorney, county attorney, elected officials, the city council, the governor, the attorney general, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all our representatives, Congress, the Senate, all of them they take an oath according to the Constitution, constitutional oath. And it is very clear that their job is to serve the people. And we have moved so far from that. It's not even, you don't even see it anymore. Well, I don't see it. I haven't seen it where these people are in service to us. No, they believe they are ruling us. They believe they can call all the shots. They get to make the rules. Outside of the rules, they don't have to follow common law. This is what they think. And so we're effectively losing our liberties and freedoms at a very rapid pace. This is not going, if things continue to go the way that they are, this will no longer be our America. Yeah. It's time that we stood up and we said no more. And you know what? Guys? The cost is going to be somewhat expensive. It's going to be somewhat heavy. We've invested literally we're just beginning in this fight, and we've already invested over $20,000. We have fundraising. There's fundraising that's happening. Not
You
all
have a
of the,
GoFundMe, right? We'll put the
yes.
GoFundMe in
Okay.
the
Yeah,
show notes here.
we
Yep.
have a GoFundMe. The National Action Task Force is also working on fundraising for us as well. We're going to need a lot of dollars. This is no small undertaking. And Carter, I had no idea when we first when we first took this on. I mean, we knew some of the risks. We had no idea what we were going up against. No idea. And as this thing continues to move forward, now we're not just on the defense now, we're on the offense, and we have lawsuits out there, and we're beginning to hold people accountable. But we're doing it using common law. We're going to use common law and the Constitution, which supports and upholds the common law and also keeps our government in check, right?
Theoretically.
But theoretically, that's not really happening, is it? Yeah. And so we're going to lose our America. We're going to lose our republic if we don't stand up and do something about this. And not to say poor me, because I'm not that kind of a person, but I'm more of a frontline person, and I was willing to take this on, and I'm not one that quits, and we won't quit. They're trying to get us to shut up. They're trying to shut us down. They're putting the pressure on. They're trying to scare us. They're trying to make an example out of us so nobody else goes against them. And we're saying, it's you do what you got to do, and we are going to do what we will do, and we will continue to stand on common law, and we are going to we're going to be taking these. I have to be careful. I can hear in the back of my head that my assistants counsel saying, "Be careful, Lisa. Be careful of what you say."
Right. Don't say the wrong thing.
That's right. So we're fighting the fight, and we need people to join this fight with us. I'm at the helm. There can only be one Lisa Hanson, owner of the Interchange. The Interchange was the vehicle that's going to drive this, that opened these doors for us to be able to fight this fight. And there's other people in the state that are fighting the fight too, and I hope that they succeed. So we need a lot of support. We need huge support, Carter, and we're hoping that your audience will support us in every way that they can. Well wishes, and we've received cards and letters, and that's beautiful and wonderful. We're building a website right now. Actually, the framework is built. It's called www.betheinterchange.com. So Be the Interchange.
We'll put that link there as well.
Thank you. And so it's actually, right now, it's more or less a skeleton. We should be uploading information here in the next several days and then going forward. But all of this is all volunteer. People that care about this cause, people that care about the future generations, liberties and freedoms, Carter. And it's time that we open our eyes. It's time that we saw this for what it is. It's time that we stand up against tyranny. So going to the website will lead you to is it'll lead you to where you can donate, because we need a lot of cash. We need a lot of money to be able to do this for all of you, for all Americans. This isn't just for Albert Leans. This is not just for Minnesotans. This is for all Americans and everybody else across this amazing nation, that are doing these types of things. We need to support and get behind these causes. So they can go to our website to be able to donate. They can go there for education and information. One thing that we're learning, Carter, is that, including me, I'll be the first to admit, I don't know my Constitution, didn't know my Constitution as well as I should have. The Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, common law. I had no idea what common law was.
Yeah. So, well, it's the foundation for our entire legal system. So
yes, it is.
Yeah. Yes, it is. I mean, it's interesting that you say that they're supposed to be for the people and they serve the people, but I think what they're able to do is declare you an enemy of the people, declare themselves as representatives of the people. And once they do that, then any action against you is completely justified morally, as far as they're concerned, at least in their own mind. And so, it's very reminiscent of plenty of times in history where you see massive tyranny erupt. You saw it in France. You saw the Reign of Terror. You saw the same thing. You saw representatives elected by the people turn on individual people because they decided that they represented the people and that person isn't the people and that person is an enemy of the people, off with their head. And the people that you're talking about, the people in these positions of power at the local level, they're just wannabe tyrants. They're little mini wannabe tyrants, and they need to be held accountable. They need to be held accountable, and the only people that can hold them accountable is us. It's got to be the community. It's got to be everyone else, even if people don't. It doesn't really matter where you stand on the mask mandates, or whether you think people should wear masks or not.
Right.
You have a right to be treated fairly and justly, and you have a right to appeal under the law. I mean, I think you have a right to keep your business open, and the governor doesn't have a right to tell you to stop making the income that you need to live and that you need to, frankly, provide your employees with livelihoods as well. So, everyone needs to stand up and fight this, and we need to have battles like this across the country, and you guys need to win. That's what needs to happen.
It needs to happen, because until we win, you're right. Things are going to continue to go the way that they are. And we've got to start having wins for these. We need to turn the tide. The tide needs to be turned. So,
and you can see, Martinez's behavior to me demonstrates how safe she feels. She feels so safe in her power and so smug in her power that she can get away with things that objectively anyone looking at this would say, well, that's completely ridiculous. No public servant should behave that way towards anyone, regardless of whether you believe they're guilty of anything or not. You can't behave that way. But she feels so secure and so comfortable because she doesn't believe she'll be held accountable.
Right. Yeah. No, and even today, I had a call. We served papers 2 days ago to the city attorney in the city of Albert Lea, and had more papers to serve to them today. And we called ahead and to make the appointment, because that's what you're supposed to do. And they won't even take the papers. They will not take the papers themselves. They have somebody else in their building that they have assigned to come in and take the papers from us, and then to take those papers to them. So it's absolute. Yeah, you're so right. It's tyranny, and there's no cooperation in as far as public service. We've been in business for a long time, and customer service is huge. And so we all, taking care of the people that pay you, that write your paycheck or sign your paycheck, that's really important to do. It's time
they need to remember who their customer is.
That's right.
And maybe they need to be reminded who their customer is.
Yes. And I think that's where we're at. I would agree with that.
So what's the next step? So let's assume that you get, hopefully this warrant goes away.
Yeah.
You have more legal action coming. You're in these lawsuits. Like, are you open right now? It sounds like you're closed.
Yes, and thank you. I guess we never really touched on that. We ended up closing down quite a little while back because the heat was so intense from the city, from the state. And as the cases began to pile on, we were not able to handle them. And so we decided we needed a reprieve to be able to lawfully, legally, handle these things, handle these cases. So we closed down for a while. We just needed to get the dogs off our back, basically. And so we closed down for a while. We are looking at opening back up in hopefully short order. I don't know. I don't have a date yet, but hopefully short order. And in the meantime, we are actually working this case. Where I used to work for our businesses, now I don't work for the business. I work this case full time. I mean, hours and hours a day, every day of the week, because that's how important this is. It's important to, our liberties are that important to me. I mean, Carter, not to, be dramatic, melodramatic or anything, but think about, the price that was paid for our liberties. And that's part of the problem, is so many people, so many generations don't understand that price that was paid.
Right.
And I will admit, in school, I didn't, we weren't taught all the histories we should have been taught. But as an adult, and especially now that we're taking these things on, yes, we understand that the price was great that was paid for our liberties and freedoms. They weren't just handed to us. People, people gave their lives.
Yeah, and that price, the longer we let the authoritarians gain in power, the more expensive it will be to get rid of them. So right
Absolutely.
now, it might be a high price. Maybe you have to risk your business. Maybe it costs money.
Right.
It's better than what the price will be in 5 years if you don't do anything. You've got to do something.
Absolutely.
Because the price just increases.
Yeah, I agree. Very well said.
Yeah. Well, look, I wish you luck. I know probably all of our audience wishes you luck as well on this.
So.
If you're in Minnesota and near Albert Lea, I guess one way you could support is to go to the Interchange when it opens back up.
Yeah.
But I'll put links to the websites that you mentioned in the show notes so people can support you there. Lisa, any final words for the audience you want to say?
Thank you, Carter. The only thing that I would say is you asked what are the next steps. Here's what I'm going to say, what I've been saying all along. No matter what happens to the Interchange as a restaurant, a well-loved restaurant by the community, no matter what happens to that, we're in this fight for the long haul. And it is going to be, it's not going to be over in a month. It's not going to be over in a couple of months. It's going to be some time. We didn't get into this situation overnight, right? As far as our liberties and freedoms, it didn't happen overnight. So we're not going to be able to fix it overnight. So here we are. When I first entered this fight, I really did think it was probably going to be over in, a couple months, maybe a little longer. I had no idea.
Let's hope your grandkids aren't still fighting it. Let's
hope. Let's hope. Thank you so much, Carter, for having me on and spreading this word. It's really important that we get this word out there and people learn and become aware and become educated and get involved. That is so important to get involved.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you so much for fighting. I think we can all appreciate you taking on that burden. It's not an easy one. I know it can't be easy to be doing this, to be getting, threatened with arrest and fines piled on and all that kind of stuff. But it's for a good cause. And, I'm really thankful that you're doing it. And I know a lot of other people are as well. So again, thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, we have a deep content library that includes interviews with everyone from Mike Cernovich to Megan Murphy, so go check it out. If you'd like to see more, please consider supporting the show by visiting unsafespace.com/donate. You can find us on all the major social media platforms, at least for now, and you can find a community of like-minded individuals on our Unsafe Space chat on Telegram. See you there.
Warning. This is an unsafe space. Dangerous ideas have been detected. The content of this production has not been authorized by the Cathedral. Pay no attention to it. The following co-conspirators have confessed to crimes against the sacred oligarchy. To protect your freedom, any association with these individuals will result in criminal prosecution and social credit penalties. You are welcome. If you think about it, no one should be allowed to express opinions. But don't. Think about it, I mean. That's not your job. Thinking has been scientifically proven to be less efficient than compliance. Did you know that once a species has been sufficiently domesticated, it will become unable to survive on its own? I really don't know what made me think of that just now. Computer voice Curtis, never mind, that last line is fake news. Please disregard it and return to your safe space immediately. There will be cake.